very nearly Halloween, so I'm going to show you a skeleton of this. I think it looks pretty cool. Hope you enjoy the video. So the update is, all this has been sealed with sanding sealer. I put clear non-shrinking dope all over the whole model. I'm now putting on the tissue paper, which I've just got behind the camera here. Oh, here we are, it's a small piece. So that's the tissue paper I'm using. Now what I'm doing is, I've put the non-shrinking dope on. You then rub it all down with a fine glass paper, maybe a 600 or maybe a little bit coarser, but you know, nothing too coarse. And it goes off pretty quick because you mix the dope with 50% thinners, cellulose thinners. Once you've done that, you put the paper on, mix up your dope, dip your sponge in it, and just go along. Okay, now I've done the bottom, I'm just doing the top part now and then the side. So I'll just show you how I'm doing it. And you can see that, you know, this part here is gone on, it's gone around the turret, and I'm just waiting for it to go off. Once that's gone off, I'll give that a light sanding as well. Now you have to put these bits of tissue on in strips, and I'll tell you for why. If you try and cover over like this all the way along, say down to about here, you're going to get creases in the tissue, and it's going to be a heck of a job to get them out. So the only way to get them out is to sand it again, you know, sand the crease down, and then apply another layer of paper over it, and I hope to goodness it goes on flat. So just do it in strips, okay, maybe 2 inches wide max, but don't try and, you know, curve it over and everything, because you're just going to end up putting wrinkles into the tissue. So I'm just letting that go off now. It goes off pretty quickly actually. It's touch dry in about 10 minutes. And I'm going to do this bottom half here under the wing, and then over the top of the wing there, and then I'll do the other side, and then I'll do the wing. Actually I'll probably do the engine cowls first, and then the wing. You may have noticed I left the tail off. I left it off because it's just easier to cover, to be honest. But the tail has been doped, sanding sealer and doping it, so I'll get that bit of rub down, and I'll do them after I've done the main body of the model there. And then I'll start looking at putting the little blocks on the other side for the engine cowling. I think I did mention I'd sprayed the canopy, and I put in the ply supports there. I've left it alone for a few days. I'll have to rub that down and just spray that again. Oh, it's popped out. That didn't work. Oh well, if it's going to fail on camera. I was using wood glue, so I'm really not sure why that's not taken. I'll have to do it again then, won't I? I think what I'll have to do is get some glass paper, score it around there to make it take. But anyway, there you go. So I'll get that back on, just rub that down lightly, put some more paint on it. So all the canopies have been painted now. So I'll update you on the next part. Well, just an update of where we are with this. Yeah. Well, the original paper I was using was just absolutely horrendous to work with, which is this stuff. It has some lines in it, and it's reminiscent of the stuff that you buy clothes with, and they sort of wrap it in the tissue paper, at least they used to when I was a kid anyway. I did have some tissue, easy tissue, this stuff, Deluxe Materials, and I had this I had this tucked away and I couldn't find it, and I went through all my hangers and I got full of crap and bits and bobs and model aircraft and everything, and then I found it in my workshop a week later. So I started to use the deluxe tissue, and I have to admit it's chalk and cheese. So I started with the one side of the model, got it covered fairly quickly. I'm just doing the nacelles of the starboard engine, or the right hand engine if you like, and it's gone on pretty well. The only trouble is with all these compound curves is that you have to put this stuff on in strips, because what it'll do, it'll crinkle, and while the dope is still wet I'm sort of rubbing it in with my thumb and then having to sand it down. So I have no idea how this is going to turn out when I put the primer on for the paint. I'm hoping it won't be too bad, but what you know I'd like you to remember with this is that you know, I didn't build this. I just sort of kind of finished it, you know, finishing it off, because I would have done this as I went through it, and then just giving it a light sand, you know, when I finished. But yeah, the amount of filler that's gone into it, the amount of dope. I mean, I've nearly used that in a dope up, but I'm just thinking, how, you know, what does this thing weigh now? But anyway, I'm going to finish this the starboard wing off, and we'll see how we get on. Do the other wing, top and bottom. By this time I should be able to put the tail back on and spray it all up in the primer and see how it comes out. I can't readily put my hands on primer off the shelf, so I've had to order some extra. Yeah, modelling is just getting harder and harder. You're just finding the materials and suppliers, and you know, people are just, you can't just go to the hobby shop anymore. And even if you do, they've got to order it for you, and you just think, well, I could do that myself online. So it is becoming a little bit harder and harder. But anyway, yeah, I'm having a bit of a moan. So I'm going to crack on now and see if I can just get the rest of it covered in it with this tissue. There should be enough there. I do have some more dope if I run out, and some more thinners, etc. And I'm not going to video anymore until I've covered it and sanded it, and you know, beginning prepping for spraying. Otherwise it's just going to go on and on and on. You know, I spent well over a week just sanding it down. But anyway, there's bound to be some flaws in it, hopefully not too bad, and see how we get on. Oh dear. I have been doing nothing but sanding, and I've got fed up, so I'm going to put some primer on. Normally I'd use a tack cloth. A tack cloth, if you don't know, it's like a very sticky cloth, and you rub it over. I couldn't find mine, which means that when I've done this, it means I will find it, so I'll be using my air gun. There you go. So let the fun begin. It's been about a week now since I made my last video entry. Now, what's occurred is that I put all the tissue on, doped it all up and everything, and rubbed it all down. The better quality paper made life a lot easier, and I've managed to put a bottom coat of primer on, which I'm going to rub down again. So now I turn my attention to the tail end. So what I've done is, not this top surface, but underneath the rudder the ailerons and the elevators, I have tissued them, and I'm going to rub them down later. But I tissued all of this except for the top part of this horizontal stabilizer because I knew I'd be working on it. So then what I did was I sinoed on the horizontal stabilizers carefully as I could, let that go off, and then what I did was I got my Dremel, cut a slot all the way along, put in a carbon rod like this one, then I filled the whole thing up with epoxy resin, 5-minute epoxy resin, and let it go off. I then got some spare balsa. This is, I think it's 3mm balsa. It doesn't really matter how thick it is, to be honest. And I glued them in and then rubbed them down flat. And now I'm using my balsa light from Deluxe, and I've just filled in any gaps that's there. And then when that's dry, which should be tomorrow, be rock hard by tomorrow, I'll then rub it all down, and then I'll tissue this top surface, rub that down, and then I will use the paint primer to prep it for spraying. So I've checked the rear blister. There you go. That's going to sit like that, so that's okay. That's fine. That's been pre-done by me, and I'll have a look at the underneath later. So that's almost ready now for priming for the paint. So the rest of the model's done. So it looks like this now at the moment, and there we are just for now, and tomorrow will be daylight, so probably have another look. I've had to remake this because I just accidentally deleted the video because I'm an idiot. Got the cowlings that goes onto the nacelles. Okay, I just did a quick colour check because it's olive drab. So while I was at it, I just marked on the cowl flaps. So when I put the top coat on, they'll show through, but they won't be like dead obvious. Now, I did a trial fit with these. This one I've marked up as being, hang on, there's the right hand one, so it's got to be the left hand one. So right, left, so that one should go onto that one. And it's got the mounts there for the cowling, so that goes on. It's not that great a fit, to be honest with you, but it does stay on, it goes on okay. The opposite side, which would be this one, turn that there, this doesn't have the mountings on, but it fits on really, really nice. So I think what I'll do is I'll just glue it on. I'll just glue it on as it is. Normally it stays there, and this time it won't, but I think I'll just glue it on as it is. Save me a bit of work. I have put the primer over everything, flattened it down, and I've actually sprayed this under the lights. It looks fairly creamy white, but it's actually a grey, USAF grey. The other side I've rubbed down also with a very fine glass paper. I think it was a 6 or an 800, I can't remember. So that's all flattened and that's ready for painting. So all I've got to do is put on the canopies, the cockpit and the bomb aimers and the rear gunner. So put them on, put these cowlings onto the nacelles, and then I'll spray that. And then all I've got left to do after that is put the USAF stickers on, the decals, which I've ordered from the USA. The trouble is I don't know when they're going to arrive. I might end up having to make my own if I have to, but I need to get this finished now because I'm getting a bit fed up of it now. I've just been doing it, but rubbing it down. The main reasons is because if the previous guy had made a better job of it, I'd have less work to do. But that may sound a little bit unfair, which it probably is, but I've spent too much time rubbing this down now, and I just want to get it finished because I've got my next project to get on with. Had I had this kit, well, it's not a kit, it's a plan. Had I had this from the beginning, it would have been 10 times easier to put an undercarriage on, and I would have done it. And I wouldn't have had to put all this prep work into it, because I think I just would have taken a bit more time over it. But I'm going to get it finished, and I'll see if I can get it made and whether the decals turn up or not. So that's where we are with that. Well, I ran out of paint, didn't I? So I went to the model shop this morning and they'd run out of my paint. I was using Humbrol olive drab. So I thought, oh no, what are we going to do? So I bought some Tamiya olive drab, and the Tamiya olive drab is a shade darker, even though it's called olive drab. So yeah, unless you're really observant, it looks okay. So the other thing is the canopies. This must be made a long while ago, because the canopies have cracked when I bought it. They're still cracked. They don't quite fit exactly. I could have made a mould and made some new ones, but I didn't want to go all through the hassle. But I have put the gun on the right way round, because it's supposed to be facing backwards, not forwards, when it's in flight, unless it's being fired upon from forward. So it's sprayed up. I didn't want to make a great big job out of it. Yes, I will mark the wheel wells and stuff like that. But it's come to the point now where I have to put the decals on. Now the decals that I ordered from the USA haven't arrived, and I want to crack on because I'm starting a new job on Monday, so I want to get this out of the way. So what I've done is, while I was in the model shop, I bought some stickers and photocopied them in colour. So I've now got paper ones, because they hadn't got enough stickers. I needed 4, they only had 2. So what I've done is I photocopied them, and I'll use this stick and spray. It's a spray on glue, and I'll just pop them on, and then I'll pop on the propellers, then demask the canopies, and then it should be almost there. But what actually saddens me is that there's no undercarriage. If there'd been an undercarriage on that really would have looked the dog's doodahs with a undercarriage on it for certain. And it's so sad that it's not designed to have it. And to put the undercarriage on, I would have had to almost destroy the model to do it. You know, and I bought it nearly completed, and I didn't want to go backwards to do that, so I'm just going to go as it is. So this is a belly lander. So I'm going to put all the stickers on, put the props on, demask the canopies, then I'll put all the control rods in, set up the radio, see if I can get the centre of gravity and everything, and then it should be okay and be ready for a maiden. But you know, I think it looks okay. Looks all right. It's not over the top or anything. So there you go. See you in a minute. I would like to show you something that's going to be really, really useful to you. And the problem was born of something called complacency. Now, in all forms of work and life and everything else, we become so confident in what we do, we don't always apply that knowledge or bother to do a check, because you think, oh, well, that's okay, you know, that'll work. Well, something happened at the field that I forgot about and didn't bother to check because of complacency. And when I show you, it'll become dead obvious. And somebody pointed out to me, as soon as they did it, I was, yeah. didn't check something. So let's see if we can show you what it is and how to correct it. Okay, here we go. Right, so here's the elevators, all right, and what happened was these were moving great, no problem at all. And what happened is that I had the original nylon, and the trouble is with nylon, it bends. Okay, so when this is pulling, that's great, because you're pulling, it'll react immediately, no issue. But when you're pushing, it's and you put your finger against it, it's sort of doing that, because when you're in the air, you got the force of the air, and it hasn't got enough push, because this is doing this. Well, actually, it was doing it more this end, this here. So this is what I pulled out. So what I've done is I experimented with some 2mm piano wire, music wire, okay, and decided this is just becoming too much like hard work. So I then got some steel wire, and it did the trick, it cured it. So all I've got to do now is just balance it all up, and that'll cure it. So if you're on the field and you're doing your pre-flights, which is what you should do, okay, and you're getting resistance on the up as you put your finger against it, okay, it's because your control rods are bending, okay, and that is the cause and the cure. Right, putting some finger resistance on here, okay, that's working, that's going down, that's going up, okay, so I reckon that's working. And just very quickly, that's what it looks like inside the fuzz. I've got to cut these, where's my finger? I've got to cut these down. That's all I've got to do. So that's working. And that's using the steel cable. No, it's not George Clooney. An easy mistake to make. You are forgiven. Hi. Well, there's the end of the build, or the rebuild I should say, or the finishing of the build. 50 of our pounds, UK pounds sterling. I'm not really sure how much that equates to in your money, but it's not a great deal for what you get. And if you was to build that from scratch, that'll cost you at least £300 in our money. So, you know, what's that? A quarter of the price, is it? Something like that. Oh, you work it out. So yeah, it's cost me some time, a lot of time actually. A couple of tins of paint, well, 4 tins of paint. That's about it. I'll put a receiver in it. So, you know, there you go. So I hope you've enjoyed that, and I hope you found it informative, especially with the elevator part. Don't get complacent. Don't get complacent. It's not going to help you. Do your checks before you fly. And when I do maiden it, I don't know when it's going to be. The weather's absolutely pants. In fact, if it carries on like this, it might even be next year till I fly this. So anyway, if you found this entertaining, then please give it the thumbs up. Just give it a thumbs up. You don't have to subscribe, just give it a thumbs up, all right? And I very much appreciate your time and your indulgence, and thanks for putting up with this old fool. And oh, the next project? Well, you're just gonna have to wait and see.